Our base is Brush Shane Oasis Ministries, and tonight going to be talking about authority and leadership. If we look out around us today, we got the election coming up, and we got very unshaky ground and unstable ground, and we don't know which way it's going to go, but we do know, according to the Bible, the Lord said that He raises up a man over a nation, He sets down men over nations. So it's the Lord that works through people that puts people in position of an authority over nations. We find that out in the Bible. And also in the Bible, the Lord never judged a nation under a righteous leader. He always waited till a wicked leader was put into position over a nation, and then He would bring judgment to that nation. And we look out around us today, it ain't looking too good. I want to go. I know we got the election coming up, and some people are confused about who they need to vote for, who they need to, not vote for, and things like that. I do know this. We need authority back in America. We need some kind of authority. We need some godly leadership back in America, and right now we just ain't got it because people have just compromised, and they have allowed. The nation to be desensitized with the agendas that's going on, in this nation, just pretty much just compromising. And so we've got to have some leadership. We've got to have some authority back in America. And I was thinking about this today, when Jesus went into the temple to cleanse the temple, He went in there and He took a good look around, and He saw these money changers, these Pharisees and these Sadducees, these religious leaders. He saw them in there, exchanging money, birds out of cages, pigeon doves, and animals and everything else inside the temple. And He gets mad. He gets angry. The Bible said God gets angry. He gets mad. It's okay for us to get angry and mad too. We're supposed to be angry. We're supposed to get angry and mad at sin and abomination and things like that, because God gets mad about it. He gets angry about it. But anyway, Jesus was mad. And so He come up with this whip. I don't know what kind of whip He had, but He went in there. The first thing He done, He took their tables and He turned them over wherever they was doing all their money laundering and stuff. He turned their tables over. That was to get their attention. And once He turned their tables over, He took a whip, mad anger. God's anger is called righteous indignation. That's what it's called. It's called righteous indignation. And the Bible says, don't let your sun go down on your wrath. It says, be angry and sin not. So Jesus was angry, but when He went in there and done what He done, He wasn't sinning. He was saying, this is wrong. He went in there with correction. So He goes in there and turns these tables over, and He said, this house is supposed to be a house of prayer, but y'all made it a den of thieves. Well, we look out around the White House, inside the Senate, inside the Congress and everything now, and what we got, we ain't got no authority, we ain't got the right leadership. And if Jesus was down here on earth, He would walk straight into the White House and He would turn their tables over. And if He had a whip, He would drive them out. He would drive the homosexuals out of the White House. He would drive the money changers out of the White House. He would drive them out of the White House that did not stand for truth and justice. We need justice back in America. We need law and order back in America. And He would drive all them corruption, them criminal, demonize politics and demonize Democrats. He'd drive every one of them out of the temple. He'd turn their tables over. And I don't think Jesus' vote would be for Biden. I don't think Jesus' vote would be for Trump. But I think Jesus' vote, one day the Bible said that Jesus is coming back, and the Bible said that the government is going to rest up on His shoulder. That's where the government's going to be placed at. And Jesus is looking for somebody to rule this nation. Like when He comes back, when the government is resting up on His shoulder, He's looking for somebody that'll rule this nation, like Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, some of our forefathers that run this nation in a Christian way. We got to have that. I remember when I was doing a revival. I was 45. This was 8 years ago. I was doing a revival. We was in a 40-night revival, and we were really tuned into the Spirit every night. And I come home and I was tired, but I still was tuned into the Spirit. And I come in when I turn on TV, and Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton's running for president. At the time, Obama was president. If Jesus was down here, he would have flipped Obama's table up and run him out too. But anyway, Obama was president at that time. But anyway, I watched this because I didn't really know who was running for president at the time and who was going to run, but I was watching this and them battling back and forth with one another and campaigning and all that, and in my mind I'm thinking, well, Lord, I remember Donald Trump. He played on the Apprentice. And he had this authority where you're fired, you're fired, you're fired, you're fired. If he didn't like what you're fired. And I said, well, and he's a money mogul. He's a real estate mogul. He's got an empire. And I said, Hillary Clinton, she was in our Bill Clinton. I said, well, pretty much what I was saying. I said, they've got money, so I know they're not running for money. I mean, they've got money. And the Lord corrected me on the spirit. He said, yeah, you're right. He said, they're not running for president for money. He said they're running because they have a lust for power. And that's how people are today. People run for positions of authority because they have this lust for power. They want to be over people. But God allows certain individuals to be over our nations, not for them to have a lust over us or have a power over us, but He places them based on how they would run the nation according to His heart and His laws and things like that. And we know Donald Trump done a good job the 4 years he was in there. He done his best to try to get this nation back on its feet. Don't get me wrong. And he stood for Israel. He was against abortion. He wanted Israel to have their land. He wanted to set the United States up over in Israel. He wanted to do everything that he could biblically, but still in his flesh part, in his carnal part, it was a lust for power. It was to be over people. Well, Biden, he's just compromised with anything. Anything goes. Let's go with the flow. Whatever makes people happy or whatever. But we can't have that neither. And so I don't know. Which way. All I know. We got to pray. But all I do know, we need authority back in America. We need the right leadership back in America. We need godly principles back in America that will, stand for truth and justice, like they did back in the Bible days when, God had David over Israel and had certain godly kings and stuff that sought His heart for leadership and things like that. Solomon with all his wisdom, and we got Deborah in the book of Judges. We got people like that, and like I said, we got Jesus. He comes, He turns their tables over in the temple. He said, y'all, this is supposed to be a house of prayer. You made a den of thieves. So He runs them all out with a whip. Well, in today's term, He would do the same thing, because really what we got going on most of the time in the White House is a big circus. It's just a big circus. And Jesus ain't too happy about it. The Lord ain't too happy about it. But like Pastor Anthony was preaching Sunday morning, the Lord has given us a space, a season that we can pray that things get back in order, that there'll be some law and order, and there'll be truth and justice, and we'll have a right godly leader, or whoever gets in there will do what's right and be a godly leader and stand for truth and justice, and make, like Donald Trump, he always had that thing, make America great. Now he's got the campaign mega great, mega America, and all that. I'm all for it. We do need to get all the other stuff out of there. But if Donald Trump does get in there, we need to pray with everything we got that he be led by the Spirit of God, to do what needs to be done for America. He does got backbone, and he does stand, for what's right. And he don't compromise. And when he says he's going to take somebody out, he takes somebody out like he did ISIS. So we do need people in there like that. But what I'm saying in the White House with the Democrats and the politicians and all that, a lot of that has got to be removed, and we got to get some godly leadership back in there. It's what the Lord has put in my spirit today. There's got to be authority back in America, and when we do, we can rebuild our foundation again. We got cracks in our foundation. America's got cracks all in its foundation, and we're letting everything come in here. We're letting everything, letting everything leak in, And the Bible said that Jesus is the cornerstone. And if everybody in America would put Jesus back in America, put God back in America, that would be our cornerstone. That would hold America together. We've got to have Jesus for our cornerstone. It talks about Jesus being the chief cornerstone. If you get a cornerstone and you got a foundation, if you get a crack in that cornerstone, this whole foundation will start to crack and crumble. And that's what Jesus is saying. I've got to be God over America again. I've got to be this chief cornerstone in America again. That's my vote. Oh God, put somebody in there that will be the chief cornerstone over America, that America won't crack and crumble, Because when I was preaching up here last time, I was talking about that dream I had where we were soaring on a broken wing when they took the Twin Towers out, ISIS and them. They gave America a broken wing. Now, thank God that God didn't lift up His hand totally, because if He'd lifted His hand up totally, ISIS would have took the Pentagon completely out, and they would have took the White House out, and we would not have been just soaring on a broken wing. We'd had two broke wings, and we would have crumbled to the ground. But there was some protection there when they did take the Twin Towers out. But we need a man over America that is going to build a fence around America. We got to have the right kind of mortar. If you look in the Bible, it talks about tempered mortar. They didn't have the right mixture to hold the walls in place, and when you get tempered mortar, it begins to crack, it begins to crumble. You got to have the right kind of mortar to get a wall, around America. And we can't have this tempered mortar. What we going on now? We got a crack in the foundation. We got tempered mortar. In our foundation, we got tempered mortar in our wall. Donald Trump said, let's build that wall in the border. Let's build it and keep all this illegals, and things out of there. One of the pearls in the Bible, when it talks about a nation coming under a judgment of God, that is illegal aliens coming in and taking our bread. That's one of the judgments. Another judgment is there ain't enough bread in the basket, meaning there ain't enough groceries in the stores. That's another judgment that could be done with famine and crops and things like that. And we don't want all that, to come to America. So yeah, I was all for Trump, building that wall, keeping that wall going. But when Biden got in there, he sold the land for 5 cents a mile where Donald Trump was going to finish that wall. So I mean, it's all we've been this last 4 years. We've had tempered mortar, had crack in the foundation, and we've been still soaring on that broken wing. We got to get our wings back, and we've got to soar above all this adversity and all this nonsense that's going on. So, that was Pastor Anthony prior Sunday morning. I'm just coming in behind him, and doing a recount of what he was saying. We can't suffer 4 more years of the nonsense that's going on in America and in the White House. So we've got to have some godly leadership, some godly principle, godly morals. We've got to have that. And if people don't like it, then they just need to get on a plane and go to another country. That's the way I look at it. But what I'm doing, I'm wanting to challenge everybody out there, for the next 4 months or 6 months, whatever. Pray with everything you got, like Anthony was saying, let's build us an altar and pray, and don't let what's going on desensitize us, and we compromise, and just go with the flow or whatever. But we've got to have some authority back in America again. The Bible says that Jesus is coming back with all power and all glory. When he comes back on that cloud, the Son of God shall return on a cloud with great glory and great power, And we need some power, we need some authority in America, and when we get it there, the Bible said that the glory of the Lord will cover the land like the oceans cover the sea, like the water covers the sea, and it said all people, are going to see the glory of the Lord. So America is the foundation of Christianity to send missionaries all over the world to spread the gospel all over the world. America's still got some great churches like Oasis, and we've got Jimmy Swaggart Ministries, and we've got John Hagee down in Texas, and we've still got great ministries all around us that are doing what we can to get the gospel out through the airways to tell people the truth. And of course, I know we got all kind of corrupt ministries out there, but we're still, God's got America and got churches here in America. We're still the salt of the earth. We're still the city on the hill. We're still the driving force to get the gospel out. So we've got to vote that God will put a godly leader over us and get all the corruption out of America and out of the White House. And first of all, the first thing that needs to be overturned, we need to overturn this homosexuality, this same-sex marriage. All that needs to be overturned. All that needs to be thrown out. And it needs to come back to a man and a woman, same-sex, godly seed, male and female, like it was in Genesis. And this polygamy stuff, it needs to be overturned and thrown out. This abortion stuff, it needs to be overturned and thrown out. We need somebody in there that'll take a stand for all this, get America back on the right track, because I don't want to see America come under the judgment of God. And the only way God can bring judgment to America, if a godly leader continually stays in position of power to abuse his position of power. We're supposed to have people in position of power that will mentor us and not have a position of power to be our abusers, you know. It's the same way with a pulpit in a church. A pastor, an evangelist, or whatever, whoever's up there preaching and speaking, they are to mentor the people, disciple the people, teach the people. We're not in a position of power to use brutality or force to abuse people with the gospel or, you know, or with the word, you know. So it's the same way in the White House. We've got to have a person in a position of power that will mentor us for the better of America. So, you know, that's my prayer, that everybody will, before you go vote this year, that you really get down and do some praying, that God's going to put the right person in there and get all the wrong people out. Well, hey, God bless you. This is Shane up here at Oasis Ministry. If you ain't got a home church, come up here where, you know, we believe in prayer changes things, and the only thing that's going to change is prayer, where we pray every Tuesday night, and we're going to be praying tonight for this country and America and our leaders. And we, you know, believe that God's doing great things up here with this ministry. And if you don't have a home church, come up here and be with us. If not, plant a seed, sow a seed. You know, Pastor Anthony's got a big building going up down here where we can do more work for the Lord and go out more across the world while we can. Well, God bless you. You have a good week, and we will see you next week.